Hello everyone. Thank you for joining me for video number 2. In this video, we are dealing with our client Chris Roach, and Chris is coming in with two T4s, T2202, a T4A, rent receipts for two different occupancies. So we're going to be inputting on Ben and political donation here. And he also has two medical expenses and a T4 FHSA. So as we begin any tax return, we're going to introduce ourselves. In my case, hello, my name is Nathan. I'm a volunteer for the CVITP, and I'm a volunteer tax preparer. I will be handling your taxes today. Is it okay if we get started? Once you gain consent on that, then you can start. So here's the dashboard, what it looks like when you first open the UFile 2024 software. So we're going to hit start a new return and then go through the identification steps. So first name, Chris, Chris. Oh, last name, Roach, Roach. Social insurance number, it's 000000000. Date of birth, day, month, year. So it'd be '09. Nope, it'd be 2009, 2000. Perfect. And then September, province of residence is Ontario. Marital status, not married, so single. No change. Perfect. So next, as I mentioned in a previous video, if you get an error here, just leave it for now until you're done the identification section, because sometimes it kind of fixes itself. So then we'll do street number. So he had two here, but right here it says current. So this is where his current residence is. So it's the same as your mailing address. So this is the one we're going to use. So it's 2210 Bank Street. City is Ottawa. Oh, perfect. And province and territory or territory is Ontario. Canadian Postal Code K1V1J5. K1V1J5, perfect. Nothing. This doesn't pertain to us. Perfect. And cell phone number, it's 613 111 1111. Perfect. So next, language. Here you'll ask them if they would like to receive their tax return in English or French. Here, Chris identified he wants it in English. Is this your first time filing? No. He is not an officer, diplomat. Do you have a Canadian citizenship? Yes. And then, do you agree to have your information sent to Elections Canada? He said yes. And the stuff you can skip over. Select the principal place of residence of the taxpayer. So it would be the Ontario part of the Ottawa-Gatineau. Email notification. So then you'll just briefly read off the terms and conditions or ask them to, and then ask them if they accept. Yes, Chris does accept. Now his email address is right here. So it's Chris Roach at gmail.com. Then you'll ask him to confirm. In this case, he'll say, no, that's not my email address. It has an H, because we always double check. Oh, and then we have to do the whole at gmail.com again. It's very important that we do this step because this is where we'll be emailing their return to. So it is crucial that this is correct. So yes, he confirms that it is his email address now, so we can move forward. For this, no, no, move forward. Perfect. And now we're able to start inputting some of his forms. So I'm going to leave the information on this for the end, just so we can input the other tax forms, starting with a T4. So we're going to go to T4 and employment income, hit the plus, add a T4. Perfect. And just like before, we're going to put the employer's name, which is Carleton University. Perfect. Employment income, box 14. Then we're just going to add the boxes. So it's 18905.11. Another good check you can do is you'll always see the years put on the forms. So just to confirm that it is the correct year, they're not bringing old forms forward. But anyways, before I get everyone confused, I'll go back. So 18905.11, perfect. So box 10 is Ontario. CPP contributions, box 16 is $916. 16A is blank. 18, 31382. RPP contributions, blank. Pension adjustments, blank. Income tax deducted is 1358.56. 24 is the EI insurance earnings, so it's 19 or 18905.11 again. And then box 26 is 18905.11. Uh, just to reiterate, if this box is ever zero, just raise your hand and someone will come over and investigate the issue. It should never be zero. So box 44. So basically here is 45 is the last box we're given. But if you are given union dues and all that, just fill in the boxes, match the boxes. Ignore the different social insurance number in this case. It should be 0000. When we made the forms, we used different socials, but anything but the zeros ends up throwing up errors. So anyways, this T4 is input. We can hit next. No errors, which is great. Go on to our next form, which is another T4. So just like the first one, we'll go to T4 and employment income, add a T4. This one, Chris is working at Apple. Good for you, Chris. PLE Inc. I'm just putting the employer's name there. Employment income, box 14 is 4822.64, 4822.64. Box 10 is Ontario. Box 16 is 7870. 70. 16A is blank. Box 18, 80.06, 80.06. RPP contributions is blank. Pension adjustments is blank. Income tax deducted is 134.84. 134.84. And box 24 is 4822.64. Box 26 is 4822.64. Union dues and everything else is blank except for number 45, which is 1. This will be the case for most T4s you end up dealing with, but I just want to give you some information just in case you see a 0 or if you see a box 44. Don't panic. Just all you would do is put in the proper box. Next. Perfect. So now his T4s are input. So now we're going to do our first T4A. So for a T4A, we're going to go to interview setup. And we're going to scroll down until you see pension and other income. And we're going to click this box. Next. Now you'll see this toolbar just appeared. So we're going to click on that. And then we're going to click add a T4. Now our T4 is added. And just like or T4A, sorry. So just like a T4, we're going to do the same exact first couple steps. Carleton University, I'm just putting the employer's name. Box 15 is 1. And here, what we're essentially going to do is scroll all the way down because everything else is blank. So we're going to scroll down to other information and we're going to select box 105 because it says 105 right here. And yeah, that's why we're choosing box 105. And then the amount, we're going to put 1800, 1800. Your view, if you're not doing this on a split screen, will look like this. Don't be confused because my boxes are underneath. I'm just trying to keep the information on one side and then the software on the other. So if that's what yours looks like, don't panic. Perfect. So now the T4A is input. So we can go on to our next one, which is the T4 FHSA. So we're going to go into the same place. We're going to go to T4A, T4 FHSA, and pension income. Then we're going to add a T4 FHSA. Perfect. And now, same first steps for all the forms. We're going to put who the form was issued by. And in this case, the name of the payer is RBC Bank. So we're just going to put that on the form. Box 18, contributions is 8,000. Must be the Apple money. Anyways, qualifying withdrawals here. So same as mailing address. And then we're going to put $1,000. And that is it for inputting a T4 FHSA. Not too bad. Now it is a T2202. So to add that, we're going to go to interview setup. Going to scroll down and find student. Click that box, hit next. Then here, now this box on the sidebar appears, tuition, education, and student loans, and we're going to add a T2202. Then for the description, it should say Carleton University here. Let's pretend it does. So I normally just put TUI, TION. So tuition fees paid to then whatever school or institution pops up here. Say it's Carleton, CAR. Tuition fees paid to Carleton University, and then box 26 is $12,750, 12,750.95. And then box 24 is blank in this case, so we're going to leave that as 0. Then box 25 is 8. What this is telling you is the amount of semesters that you're taking. So sometimes you'll see them where it's 4, you'll see 4, 4, and then 8. But as long as it says 8 here, it means essentially it's he was a full-time student. Alrighty, and that's everything to input for the T2202. It's now medical expenses. So for medical expenses, we're going to go to medical disability and caregiver, click that, add medical expense. And here we're going to do the date. So it's March 5th, 2024, day, month, year. So 05-03-2024. Sorry, that should be a parenthesis. And then I'm just going to put exactly what is in the description. You'll see all sorts of things. If you see physiotherapy, put physiotherapy. Really, it's just we're giving the CRA as much information as we can so they understand what the expense is. And then we're going to put the amount. So 226. Okay. And then I believe that there is another one. Yes, another medical expense. for the same date. So I'll just copy that. And then, so to add a medical expense, you don't go back into medical and add, you'll get a error here. So what we're going to do is in the medical expense tab that we already created, we're just going to add a plus. And here is where you'll add multiple expenses, whether they have one or 100. Hopefully no one has 100, but yeah, here's where you'd add it and you'd copy your description, prescription for 30 days, and then put the amount 16.95. Perfect. Then next. So now all of our forms are input into the software, but we still have to deal with his political contribution and his 2 rent receipts. So I believe for political contribution, it's the same deal as here. No, okay, we'll deal with the political contributions in a minute. We'll do rent receipts first. So for rent receipts, we're going to go to the Ontario tax credits. And the first thing you always do when someone tells you that they have rent paid is you add an application for tax credits. Then you'll ask them, "Hey, Chris, do you want to receive a lump sum payment one time in June 2026, or would you like to receive your payments monthly from June or July 2025 to June 2026?" Last video we did monthly payments, so let's do a lump sum payment this one. So Chris wants to receive one payment. And now we go back to Ontario tax credits, scroll down to the on-ben declarations, and instead of residence, we're going to add rent receipts. So declaration of rent paid. And then we're just going to put his information here. So the address, city is Ottawa, postal code is K2J4G8. Number of months you occupied this residence in 2024. 8 months, he's telling us, and the amount of rent paid. So oftentimes, like this is how you'll receive the information from a client. They'll just tell you, and you have to manually calculate it. So we're given that he's paying $1,000 per month, and it's for 8 months. That's a easier one. But so it'd be 8 times 1,000, which we all know is 8,000. So that's what we're going to put in for the rent paid. It's not a long-term care. And then the name of the landlord is Mike. That's what we're going to put next. And that deals with our 8-month payment. Now we're going to deal with our 4-month payment and our current residence. So what you'll do is go back to the Ontario tax credits, declaration of rent paid. We're going to add another tab and then just do the exact same thing. Really, it's just important to note you can't combine them. If they have multiple addresses, then you just do it on, you have to add the multiple addresses here. So 2202, city is Ottawa, postal code K1V1J5. Alrighty, number of months is 4 months. Amount of rent paid. So here you'll do 1,200 times the 4 months is the 4,800. 4,800. It's not, and then the name of the landlord is Student Living Inc. So we'll just put that there. Next. Perfect. So now we have our rent done. And for political donations, sorry, it's been a minute since I've seen this, but we'll hear right there. So donations, federal, uh, federal political contributions. So we're going to go to common tax deductions in our interview setup. Click that box and hit next. Then we're going to see this box on the sidebar pop up. Then we're going to click it and add Canadian charitable donations. Federal political contributions is what it is. So here in the real world, you'd have a receipt for this. So let's assume that Chris provided us a receipt. So we'll add that. And then you're just going to put the amount that he donated for. So $200. Next. And there is all of Chris's forms input into the software now. And now we can go to review. And it's saying his total refund is $1,493.40. And like I mentioned in a previous video, if you just want to do a quick sanity check, sometimes if income is excessive, then this isn't always the case. Sometimes you'll have less of a refund if you don't have enough available tax credits. But if income is low, this is a great first step. So we're going to look at the income tax deducted, which for T4 number one is 1358.56. And then we're going to go to T4 number two. So we'll hit plus, and we'll scroll down to box 22 here, plus 134.84, which gives us $1,493.40. 1493.40. So we know we at least did that right. And now it's kind of getting to the point where you'd conclude your meeting with the client, and I'll just walk you through exactly what I would say. So I'd say, hey, Chris, your total refund for this year is going to be $1,493.40. And you are also going to get payments. Here, I'll make that full screen. You're also going to receive payments for, so you'll scroll down to additional information. You'll receive your GST/HST credits, Ontario Trillium Benefit, Ontario Climate Action, and the credit carryover. That's not a payment, that's just letting us know that he has a credit amount carried over to a future year. But so for your GST/HST credit, we know that is a quarterly payment. So we're going to do the 433.47 divided by 4. So just to let you know, you're going to receive 4 payments throughout the year for $108.37. For the Trillium benefit, you opted in to receive a lump sum. So you'll receive that lump sum June 2026. And then the Ontario Climate Action, you'll do the $560 divided by 4, which gives us $140 a month, and you'll receive 4 payments of $140. And then you'll ask them if they have any other questions for you, and if not, then you can send them on their way. Perfect. Well, that was another look at a kind of common type of tax return and some documents you'll see. And yeah, thank you for watching.